Sunken city and several pyramid-shaped structures discovered in China, carvings found on one of the stones in the underwater ruins in Fuxian Lake. Sa Defensa, experts admitted it is not yet possible to decipher these symbols. If the underwater relics are indeed far older than 1,800 years old, the scientists will have to explain what tools could have been used for such carvings at that time. Several new buildings have been discovered in the Fuxian Lake in China which completely took the world by surprise. The science community has been shaking to its very core by this discovery, as what it entails is simply impossible, to say the least. They are not your average constructions, as the many carvings on the walls of these buildings prove that they were meant for a lot more than they appear to be. But, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's start with the beginning. The discovery of the Yuan city is what caused all of this commotion. According to most experts, it was officially started back during the Western Han Dynasty, which took place around 206 BC to 24 AD. Nobody knows why or how the city ended up completely submerged underwater, but what we do know is that it now lies at the bottom of the Fuxian Lake. Inside of this city, it appears as though a pyramid-shaped building was uncovered. The reason as to why we started it as a pyramid-shaped building and not a normal pyramid is because it is way more complex than any other pyramid out there. When people think of pyramids, they think of them as the ancient Egyptians' depiction of pyramids, but as it turns out, this may very well be different from every point of view except external. What made this discovery especially strange is the discovery of drawings of the sun and other such astrological elements on it. Carvings of masks that date back to 18,000 years ago make this whole discovery out of this world, to say the least. Enigmatic carvings on underwater ruins in China mystify investigators in an underwater investigation in Fuxian Lake, Yunnan Province, China. Started on June 13, 2006, archaeologists discovered remains of a group of huge ancient buildings at the bottom of the lake. The investigation team found numerous regularly placed stones featuring mysterious carvings. The discoveries proved that the magnificent architecture was built by civilized human beings, but cast doubt on experts' previous suppositions. According to Life News, a Chinese newspaper, it was recorded in historical documents that a city named Yuan was established in the Fuxian Lake area in the Western Han Dynasty, 206 BC to 24 AD. But this city stopped in historical records after an earlier expedition into Fuxian Lake was done under the assumption that the ruins belonged to either the sunken city Yuan or the capital of the ancient Dian kingdom. But the second expedition yielded evidence contradicting this assumption. The buildings were made of stone, while both the cities of Dian and Yuan were constructed largely from wood and clay. A large city that was never documented. Sonar surveys have shown that the architecture complex at the bottom of Fuxian Lake covers approximately 2.4 square kilometers, 10.8 million square feet, larger than the capital of the Han Dynasty. People cannot help but wonder why such a large city left no trace in historical records. An underwater pyramid more advanced than the Egyptian pyramids in the remains under Fuxian Lake, one of the structures resembles a pyramid. This pyramid seems to be more advanced than the Egyptian pyramids, as the stones are ornamented with various designs and symbols. Enigmatic carvings amongst the many engraved stones, one stone has attracted particular attention. On the top right of the stone is carved a small circle surrounded by 7 radial lines, resembling the sun. On the left side of the stone is carved a similar circle, but with only 4 radial lines. According to experts, a sun-shaped intaglio type of carving on a stone is very rare. Such suns with 4 radial lines were found on bronze drums from the spring and autumn period, 722 to 481 BC. However, the symbol on the stone is believed to be even older than that, far more than 1,800 years old. The investigation team also found on the stones some carvings resembling masks. The flat cheeks and indented teeth of the masks do not match the facial characteristics of human beings. Other marks found at the site include 0 and 1 signs and 7 holes carved in a neat design in the stones. Some simple line drawings were also found, one of which resembles a human face. On some other stones were carved signs looking like Roman numeral 1 and the English letter Y arranged in a row. A research team diving in the waters of Fuxian Lake has uncovered more archaeological evidence of a long-rumored, submerged ancient city. The 20-day investigation off the eastern shore of the lake allowed researchers to map portions of the site, take photos and, perhaps most importantly, recover dozens of long-forgotten relics. Scientists from the Association of Chinese Cultural Studies, ACCS and Yunnan University conducted their fieldwork from September 26 until October 15, recovering 42 handmade stone artifacts in the process. The interdisciplinary group, working roughly 60 kilometers southeast of Kunming, included historians, archaeologists and experts on the ancient cultures of Yunnan. The objects retrieved during the dives were catalogued and tagged with individual global positioning coordinates and will now be further analyzed in labs. In addition to the relics, several carved stones were photographed and otherwise documented. These include marks the scientific team says resemble I Ching divination trigrams, as well as representations of male and female genitalia, and depictions of the sun and moon. The underwater area in question stretches over 2.5 square kilometers, and the research carried out recently focused on a relatively small portion of the site. Of the 30 buildings, walls and cobblestone roads thought to lie below the surface of Fuxian, only 2 were examined during the September and October dives. Huang Yilu, professor of archaeology at Yunnan University, told reporters that our investigation and research is based on formal examinations organized by CCTV in 2001 and 2006. Those 2 expeditions, which used submersible vehicles, actually created far more rumor and innuendo than they did provide scientific certainty. 8 years ago, when China Central Television was once again covering the story, the national press routinely referred to the ruins of Fuxian as either China's Pompeii or China's Atlantis. Speculation ran rampant that the ruins were part of an extensive city, complete with an Egyptian-style pyramid that perhaps dated back 4,800 years. Carbon dating conducted in 2007 calmed things a bit when some Fuxian relics were found to be roughly 1,750 years old, meaning the buildings were constructed after the fall of Yunnan's Bronze Age Dian Kingdom. Little to nothing is known about the city or the people who built it. According to Huang, there are no historical records in the Chinese canon of an advanced stone-building civilization that corresponds to the carbon dating data. Although Fuxian Lake is China's second deepest, the recent dives were conducted at an easy-to-reach depth of 7 meters, hopefully indicating additional research will not be another 8 years in coming. Fuxian Lake stretches out through Chengjiang County, Jiangchuan County and Weining County in Yunnan Province, about 60 kilometers to Kunming City, spanning an area of 212 square kilometers. The lake is ranked 3rd largest in Yunnan, right after the Doyancha Lake and the Arai Lake. Also the deepest lake in Yunnan, it is 155 meters deep at its greatest depth. One day, Geng Wei, a specialized diver, found a strange phenomenon under the lake. He discovered many stone materials, including flagstones and stone strips with thick moss above them, could be seen. Geng Wei believed the stones might be from a remote time. However, why were they underwater? Where did they come from? With these questions, Geng remembered a mystical legend about the lake. Local people often said residents could see a city-like silhouette under the lake from the nearby mountains on a calm day. Was it the ancient city mentioned in the legend? In order to explore this riddle, Geng dove into the waters, some 38 times to carry on surveys. He finally wrote a report to notify related official departments and experts in Yunnan province of his findings. Archaeology under the lake to unveil the mystery, a Chinese submarine archaeology team stationed in Fuxian Lake also became involved. Members had discovered lots of blocks, scattered on the lake bottom. With the advanced use of detectors, they saw stones that formed a wall seen on a sonar display along with various flagstones. High stairs appeared in front of them. Flagstones covered with moss seemed to reveal an ancient sunken city. The team members found the scope of the site under Fuxian Lake was extremely big, and the traces of construction were everywhere. After several days of observation and analyses, experts estimated the scope of the area is between 2.4 square kilometers to 2.7 square kilometers. Where is it from? Some experts speculate the site might be the ancient city of Yuan, which disappeared mysteriously many hundreds of years ago. Hanshu, a classic Chinese historical writing covering the history of the Western Han Dynasty, 206 BC to 9 CE, once recorded that Yuan city was north of Fuxian Lake. Was the site under the lake the city recorded in Hanshu? To determine this point, the researchers first tried to determine whether the site's age tallied with history. They needed to find items that correlated with human life. After a half-month survey, earthenware was spotted by inspection team members. The experts believed that, from this earthenware, the site was possibly from the warring states to the Eastern Han Dynasty. However, in order to find a more exact time, they had to find a subject that could be used for carbon-14 testing. A city of Han Dynasty. After failing many times, team members finally found some shells attached to blocks. Through a test for carbon-14, an accurate time was discovered. The item was 1750 years old. This result proved the site was sunk during the Han period. However, in the Tang dynasty, there were still records about Yuan city remaining on land. Therefore, the lost city is not Yuan. Another guess: some experts believe that, from the structure of the underlake construction, it is extremely similar to the construction styles of the ancient Dian country, a country with a high level of civilization. After BC 86, it mysteriously disappeared. But other experts are suspicious, saying it is too early to make this conclusion because archaeology is a long and complex process. Solving the riddle of the old city requires longer-term archaeological excavation and careful research. Other riddles within Fuxian Lake. Along with the discovery of the sunken city, Fuxian Lake has taken on mythic proportions, almost as unfathomable as a Greek fable. Only parts of the secrets in the body of water have unfolded. Legends have prevailed for more than 1,000 years. Pegasus in Fuxian Lake. On October 24, 1991, a man named Zhang Yuxiang was fishing on the tranquil lake. Suddenly, he and others claim that a shining disc sprang out of the lake as a big fog formed. The disc vanished in the air. The boat was tossed by sudden waves. This strange phenomenon shocked Zhang and other people with him. Actually, other legends like this have spread for a long time. According to Chengjiang Fujia, a book in the region of Emperor Daoguang, a horse-like animal lived in the lake. Its body was pure white with red spots on its back. Sometimes it rapidly flew out of the water. People who saw were lucky. Does the Pegasus really exist in Fuxian Lake? Secret of bronze castings on an ordinary hill, Li Jiashan, in the west of Fuxian Lake. The army patrols day and night. What do they protect? Long years ago, there was an ancient battlefield. However, as massive bronze castings were excavated, this mountain became a mystical treasure hill. These castings came from the last stage of warring states to the initial period of Eastern Han Dynasty, and were considered as a significant discovery of the culture of the ancient Dian country. More than 5,000 bronze castings were excavated. There was another strange phenomenon that occurred in Li Jiashan. Lightning has struck there many times. According to experts, massive amounts of metals must be buried there, accounting for the attraction of the electrical jolts. Are there still many bronze castings in Li Jiashan? There are many legends local people recall. An ancient fable had a description of people who sank together with the old city and now live underwater. And some people once said, when diving, they have spotted mummies standing in the lake. It may be that nobody really knows the many secrets and miracles behind the beautiful scenery of Fuxian Lake.